Doesn't the same thing happen every evening? Your garden is very lively. There are northern cardinals in your feeders. Chickadees are moving in your trees. Before the light fades, a warbler searches for the last worm in the grass by walking on the ground. And then, within about 20 minutes, they all disappear at once. Your feeders are empty. The branches of the trees do not move. Your garden, which was full of life an hour ago, now looks as if it has turned into a completely different garden. So, where did all these birds go when it got dark? Most people assume that the birds are somewhere near the neighborhood where they live. They think that they roost obscurely in trees, doing whatever it is birds do when people stop watching. But the reality is much different than you think and much stranger than most people realize. What the birds in your garden do between dusk and dawn is the least observed, but actually the most extraordinary part of their lives. Tonight, while you're sleeping, if you could see the birds in your garden, they would do things that would take your breath away. Some will lower their body temperature to survive the cold. Some will fit into places where you would think not even a single bird could fit, piling on top of each other. And the birds you think are wandering around this neighborhood will actually be flying hundreds of miles. Yes, right in the middle of the darkness. Welcome to my video. If you are new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe before you continue watching, because what you are about to learn is happening in your garden at night, completely out of sight. And when you learn this, your perspective on the birds in your garden will change a lot. Today, unlike our other videos, we are entering the darkness. You will learn what really happens to your birds after the light leaves your garden. I recommend you stay until the end of the video, because the last topic I will talk about happens directly over your house on certain nights every spring and autumn. 1. Where do birds go when the sun goes down? The answer to this question is not what most people imagine. The northern cardinal is the easiest one to follow among them. Cardinals do not roost very far from where they spend the day. An hour before sunset, the male cardinal moves toward areas of dense vegetation. It usually enters a dense thicket, an evergreen shrub, or a vine cluster within a few hundred feet of its daytime territory. They take care to choose the densest cover possible. His priority in choosing this place is not to get warm, but to be protected. A sleeping bird is a vulnerable bird. Dense vegetation, on the other hand, is the most important place for a cardinal to protect itself. And he goes to the same place every night. If you have a thick winterberry shrub or similar dense thickets in your garden, it is highly likely that a cardinal spent every night there this winter. And he lived there for months without you ever noticing. The night strategy of the chickadee is different and very surprising. In North America, the cold can drop to 0 degrees or even below. And this situation puts black-capped chickadees into a state called regulated hypothermia. They intentionally lower their body temperature to 12 degrees below their normal daytime temperatures. Their metabolism slows down dramatically. Their heart rate slows down. They are not in a state of full sleep in the sense that we understand. They are closer to a controlled shutdown. They store the minimum energy needed to keep that tiny body alive until morning. A chickadee weighs about 10 grams. In other words, when you hold it in your hand, you can hardly feel its weight. Therefore, on cold winter nights, the energy budget of this tiny bird is so limited that, without regulated hypothermia, they cannot survive in that cold until morning. Every night it spends is in temperatures that would freeze an animal without a cold protection mechanism within a few hours. Chickadees make their nests in places like an old woodpecker hole, a cavity in the tree bark, or a nest box. Since the walls of the cavity trap the bird's body heat, it dramatically reduces heat loss. Sitting in that tiny hole on a cold night, the chickadee operates with extraordinary physiological precision. Therefore, if you want to feed a chickadee in your backyard, you can build a small nest high up. 2. Communal roosts. Some of the most dramatic night activity in your garden involves species you would never expect to sleep collectively. The eastern bluebird is one of the most striking examples of this. For bluebirds in the breeding season, their nests are of vital importance. A male bluebird defends its nest box against other males at the cost of its life. But in winter, the same bird invites a dozen other bluebirds to that nest, and they sleep huddling together to stay warm. When winter comes, the rules of protecting their nests during the breeding season are completely suspended. In winter, the math is very simple. Shared body heat means survival. Researchers detected 12 to 15 eastern bluebirds in a nest on a cold winter night during nest box studies in the United States. The birds, which did not even land within 10 meters of each other during the day, were gladly sharing a 6-inch space. This tells you this about your garden. The nest boxes and dense shrubs you prepare for birds are not only for breeding infrastructure, they form the survival infrastructure for birds. On cold winter nights, those structures serve as a home for the birds that will wake up in your garden in the morning. 3. How do birds spend the darkness? A sleeping bird does not sleep completely unconsciously. It operates in a mode that researchers call unihemispheric slow-wave sleep. While one half of the brain sleeps, the other remains awake and alert. One eye is open and scanning for predators. The sleeping and awake hemispheres periodically switch places so that both sides get enough rest. But the bird is never fully unconscious like a sleeping human. Cornell Ornithology Lab researchers clearly documented this on mallard ducks. The ducks sleeping at the edge of the group kept their outward-facing eyes open to monitor the environment, while the ducks in the middle of the group slept with both eyes closed. They had to be alert to survive. The same principle applies to the birds in your garden. A chickadee roosting in a tree cavity on a cold night was never fully asleep. It kept monitoring its surroundings. The snapping of a branch, the sound of a predator passing nearby, the presence of a human moving in the yard. All of these can instantly trigger it to escape from a dangerous situation. The owl hooting from the oak tree at 11 p.m. is heard by every sleeping bird within its range. The alarm sound of a warbler caught by a cat at midnight reaches the chickadees sleeping nearby. There's a communication network passing through the garden at night, even though it seems completely silent and still. Birds never stop communicating with each other while they sleep. Think about this for a moment. That dark, quiet garden you see when you look out the window at midnight is not empty. It is full of active, scattered, and aware birds. They're trying to sleep hidden in the dense shrubs and thick inner branches of evergreens they find. While one half of the brain rests, they watch the darkness with their eyes using the other half. If the information coming through that open eye indicates that something has changed, they are ready for action in less than a second. They are there. You just can't see them. And they move much more carefully than you do at night. 4. Birds you never knew were active at night. Most people think of garden birds completely as daytime creatures. A cardinal at your feeders at dawn, a chickadee in your branches throughout the morning, and warblers wandering on your lawn in the afternoon. In this mental model, the night belongs only to owls. They think there are no other birds wandering around. But a few birds that you think visit your garden during the day do things at night that will truly surprise you. The American warbler is one of them. Warblers wake up early. They are usually the first birds to sing before dawn. That is why they stand out so much in dawn chorus descriptions. What most people don't know, warblers are extremely sensitive to artificial light at night. In cities and suburban areas, warblers in well-lit gardens start singing hours before dawn, sometimes at 1 or 2 in the morning, because artificial light triggers the same hormonal response as a natural sunrise. If you hear a bird song in the middle of the night in a lit neighborhood, it is almost certainly a warbler. The mourning dove offers a different surprise. Doves are among the heaviest sleepers of the garden bird community during the day. They move slowly, they do not rush, and they seem oblivious to anything in sight. But mourning doves can show extraordinary nocturnal alertness when threatened. The dove, which sat on a still branch all afternoon, can take a fast flight in total darkness if a predator approaches. That high-pitched sound the wings make while cutting through the air is a communication signal itself. It warns other doves against danger, even in the dark. 5. What is passing over your house right now? This is the part that changes the way you think about the night sky. Twice a year, the night sky above your house teems with birds. On peak migration nights in late April and early May, and again in September and October, the number of birds passing over a single spot in the eastern United States can reach millions in a single night. These are your birds, not exotic species coming from distant continents. The wood thrush that visits your garden in the summer left last October and has been in Central America ever since. And right now, at the end of April, it is flying north over your house at night. The ruby-throated hummingbird, which will come to your feeder in May, crossed the Gulf last night in a non-stop flight of 900 miles. It navigates according to the stars and the magnetic field. It burns fat reserves equivalent to the energy a human running back-to-back marathons would expend. The Cornell Labs Birdcast system tracks this in real time. On a peak migration night, the radar image of the eastern United States looks like a massive weather event moving north. Not rain, not clouds, billions of birds. The biological mass of the migration is large enough to return radar signals that meteorologists had to learn to distinguish from precipitation. This happens over your house on many nights in the spring. The birds that will spend the summer in your garden, sing in your trees, and feed from your feeders are passing over you right now. In the dark, seeing the light you cannot see, following the paths their ancestors have taken for millions of years. The garden becomes quiet at dusk. Your feeders are empty. The branches remain still. But what you see when you look at that empty garden is not absence itself. It is the skill of the birds who are masters of hiding. The cardinal is in the winterberry shrub in the corner of the garden. The chickadee is in the woodpecker hole in the oak. It lowers its body temperature. Its metabolism is pulled down to the minimum required to survive until morning. Somewhere in the roof eaves, birds that you won't see until May are passing in groups of thousands. This happens every night, and it will continue to happen. You have been living next to this event for years, without ever fully understanding its entire shape. But now you know. And the next time your garden goes quiet at dusk, when your feeder empties, when your tree branches become still, you will know that the birds have gone nowhere. They just transitioned into that part of their lives that you can never see. So, have you heard anything in your garden at night? Have you seen something moving in the dark? Or is there something you never thought about regarding that bird you see at the feeder in the mornings, which just crossed your mind while watching this video? Please write these stories to me in the comments. I need them while preparing my next videos. Thank you for being here and watching the video. If you also want to determine the next video topic, you can write this to me in the comments. See you. Bye.